Happy Wednesday, Power Rankers. This is the Midseason Power Rankings review with myself, Dan, and a wonderful list of guests here. We're going to go ahead and get right into it here. The Midseason Power Rankings review is all about hubris. Your hubris gives us the power to fight gods. It's important to keep in mind. We're stalled out with the gentleman being currently attacked by a consumer. Hello, If Biff. Good day. How is the consumer doing?
I feel like there's just something weighing on my mind right now, Dan.
Yeah, just a little. Do you feel like
It
capitalism is just a little too close for comfort?
Quite probably, yes. I'm sure we'll get into it a little more later, but yeah, there's definitely some close calls coming.
Yeah. Also, wonderful Moist
I'd
Talkers
also like
jacket.
to, yes, thank you. I was going to say I'd like to quickly point out and thank Blaseball Cares for this awesome Lego minifig that you see here today. I actually have the full set of the current 12 that are available. Can't recommend them enough. Can't love them enough. Even though it apparently makes me delicious to Lego sharks.
I mean, there are some things that even we can't help. Your buoyancy must be a little too low. Or high?
If I had, Dan, if I had a nickel.
Fair enough. Next up, a wonderful tacos writer, as well as Twitter activist. I'll say activist. I'm not sure. Evie, good day. How is the Twitter machine?
It's an endless feed of pain, and boy, do I love being in it.
Oh, I mean, fair enough.
I don't know. Twitter's a hell site, and boy, do I love it.
Is Twitter that dumpster fire that we all just love swimming in most of the day, just paddling around in it?
Yeah,
Okay. Now, we do have two
I have
tacos.
no other jokes.
Fair enough. We do have two tacos peoples on here, and I don't feel bad about that because I could easily call this episode Taco Baco Mark II. But Benjamin, I know it's late over there in the United Kingdom. You've taken the time to stay up extra late with us. Good evening to you / almost good morning. How are you today?
Not too bad, you know. I'm not too bad. I've managed to put on a nice shirt, and I'm ready to go.
You are.
I'm very excited about this.
We're happy to have you. Yes, we're doubling up on the tacos, but there are other things to speak of as well, including results and reflections on the power rankings. If you guys, gals, and everyone else don't know, every week that there is a season, BNN does power rankings. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, but every single time they're just chock full of as much hubris as we can pack in them. And this week was...
You can just say sometimes they're EVs. You don't have to say wrong.
I would never say that. Wow. That's so mean. No.
I shuffle a deck of cards.
And how, listen.
Still sometimes more accurate than the Dudadino.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that, they're more accurate than the BNN official power rankings, but half the time they actually are. There's nothing else I can say to that. So, starting out here, I want to just go over the basics of what the power rankings are and what we're looking at now that it's Wednesday in the middle of this wonderful 21st season. The power rankings are an attempt to predict what teams are going to do really well, what teams are going to do poorly, how teams are going to place throughout the season. And this season, we had a couple wonderful, I'm going to say curveballs, not to make a pun, thrown at us. So to start out going around the panel here, I'm simply going to ask, what in the heckin' is going on with the Breckenridge Jazz Hands? Starting at the very top of the Wild High and starting out with If Biff. What is going on with the Jazz Hands?
wish I could tell you.
You're the expert here. I hope you could tell us.
I is that a few seasons ago,
You're cutting out pretty
Collins
bad there,
Mellon
if Biff.
with Sugar,
Sugar?
right? How's that?
That's much better.
Sugar. Oh, better than the other one. Okay. I was gonna say a few seasons ago, Collins Mellon went from under the radar to radared, I guess, and
Mhm.
is continuing to have a spectacular season. Baby Doyle behind him makes a really good 1-2 punch there. It's an offensive team that's pretty evenly spread. Um, Oddly enough, they don't have the same Wyatt pathos that they did a couple of years ago, seasons ago, when she was just totally the top of the top when it comes to elite pitchers.
Mhm.
She's not what she once was. She's still anchoring a pretty solid staff, but I so much better this season. I wish I could tell you.
You do bring up a good point with Collins Mellon and Baby Doyle there in the second and third spots, respectively. Baby Doyle, too, most excellent vibes middle of the season here. I'm very curious how well those vibes have been holding up so far and if they've affected things. But you also bring up a good point in Wyatt Pathos. For a season there on the Yellowstone Magic, and we were happy to have him. However, back on the Jazz hands right now, and not pitching quite as strong. Evie, we'll go to you here. Do you have any inkling on why the Jazz hands? No one at BNN predicted they would do nearly this well. The highest rank they were at was 6, I believe. Eighth. The Jazz hands are ranked 8th by Moth. Evie, what do you think is going on with the Jazz hands here?
19.
Didn't I rank them as who are you jazz fans in like my previous power rankings?
Possibly.
I think I forgot them at one point.
Wait, did you actually forget
Anyways,
them?
No. I
No?
barely forgot. Like they were the last team on the list.
Oh, I gotcha.
Because I forgot they existed, and so they just ended up having to be the last team by default.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, and this is why. Oh yeah. They were placed as 24th, and it says 24th Jazz hands. Oh, I forgot they existed, Lamau. That was May 16th, 2021.
Okay, what season was that for? If you remember.
Like 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago. I don't know. I think it was 2 seasons ago because I've been consistently doing power rankings ever since.
Gotcha. I have to correct myself, by the way. Spludge. Moth was not the highest rank at 8th for the Jazz hands. It was Spludge at 6. So Spludge had a solid inkling that, hey, hold on a second, Jazz hands might have something here. Benji, as a pretty active broadcaster for Blaseball, have you seen anything in particular that would indicate why the Jazz hands are doing so well?
So, a couple of things brought to mind. We talk about like the Jazz hands ace pitcher, not Wyatt Pathos, Riley Firewall, who is making use of their underhandedness. They've got an ERA through 14 games of .49, which is very tasty.
But they're elsewhere right now.
It's a lineup that is.
Uh-oh.
Oh, so that will change things up a little bit. The lineup is very up and down.
They are elsewhere because they are the undertaker for the team. So they went looking.
Oh, so they're looking for someone.
They dive in a lot, but they do come back.
Gotcha. Okay. Continue, Benji.
In terms of hitting, there's a lot of lean patches in the lineup, but at the top, kind of you've got Baby Doyle, who is having a phenomenal season, current OPS of 1.107, which is incredible. Collins Mellon's at 985, which is not it's not as good, but it's still outstanding. And Collins Mellon, obviously they're not Don Mitchell, who is just going ham, but Collins Mellon's stolen 85 bases so far this season, which is just ridiculous. Oh, hello, Conan. But it's just like you see Collins Mellon get like if they get on base with a single or a walk, you just know exactly what's going to happen, and that Mellon's just going to roll all the way around the bases and steal home on you, and there is nothing you can do about it.
One important point to make with Collins Mellon in particular, 7 solid, well 6.9, nice, but solid base running stars, like really good base running.
Missed in the last few seasons as Collins has come up, but Blengy has it perfectly. All eyes have been on Don Mitchell as he cracked all the stolen base records. When Don did 198 those 2 seasons ago, Collins Mellon actually also broke the record in 168, I want to say it was. So he was right behind Don all the way.
Oh,
And
wow.
those two have been just burning up the base paths for a couple of seasons now and cracking all sorts of records.
So Don Mitchell kind of
Yeah, a couple of more things about the top of the Jazz hands.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
Oh, all yours.
I was going to like a couple of things was like in terms of offensive output from those kind of the power couple at the top of the Jazz hands lineup. Collins Mellon is second on runs scored so far this season. 70. Baby Doyle has the highest slugging percentage in the league at 762. They're sixth in batting average, and I'm trying to find the. Yep, they're fifth in OPS as well. So like, it's not like Baby Doyle Baby Doyle's having a good season. Baby Doyle is having like a superstar slugger MVP caliber season for the Jazz hands, and that goes a huge way.
So it's that 1-2 punch right at the top of the lineup that if Biff was mentioning that is really just holding a flag for the entire Breckenridge Jazz hands team. And with an Undertaker on the team in Riley Firewall, they don't really need to worry about elsewhere's taking a chunk out of their lineup or rotation for too long, which sometimes can really dramatically affect an entire team season if 1 or 2 critical players suddenly get swept elsewhere for 70 plus games. That's a huge deal.
And they have been lucky in that the players who have gone elsewhere this season, I do not believe either of those big 2 have been in it, one of them. I don't think they've gone anywhere. I'm trying to look through and I don't see any at the moment. So, part of it is that luck factor of who's going and who's when and which pitchers are what. As Blengy said, the underhanded aspect. But yeah, I mean they've been quietly building for a couple seasons, and this is now just them making it, to the spotlight.
Now, on the opposite side of the wild high,
I know that sorry.
No, go ahead, Benji.
Or not.
The one thing I was going to say quickly is that a couple of seasons ago, when kind of everyone was worried about about players becoming MVP, the Jazz hands very cleverly suggested that people idolize Baby Doyle so they could get an MVP thing because it would prevent them from being swept off base in flooding weather, partly because they had that horrible uncertain necklace of entanglement at the time. But it does mean that even if they're getting the floods, the key players are able to stay on base. I guess Collins Mellon avoids it by just always stealing home before it happens. But yeah, they would like, we'll take the hit because it means that Baby Doyle can't be swept elsewhere, and it's paid dividends for them.
There you go. That's a very good point to make. On the opposite side of the Jazz hands coin of the wild high, though, the Wild Wings sitting solidly at 8-48 in record and 16 wins in total for the season currently. Ouch.
If not for win objects, they would be in contention for the worst record, the pace for the worst record of all time.
Really?
They are looking to potentially do that.
I'm curious because we know Sel Barajas and Sylvia Rugrat are no slouches on the mound for the Wild Wings. Obviously, Axel Cardenas, probably not doing a lot for them, but one out of 3 bad pitchers an 8-48 record does not make. And we'll start back up at Benji here for this. What's going on with the Wild Wings, and why have they tanked for better or worse this season?
I just want to bring up Axel is trying.
It's very important.
Go ahead, Benji. Benji's turn to speak.
Which is less than previous years. The ERA is over 10 at the moment, 10.22, which is very problematic unless, of course, you're playing in black hole weather and you get a free win out of being looped, which is great.
That's half their
the problem
wins.
is that the Wild Wings offense, it's not wild at all. It's pretty horrible, really. Summers Preston back in Mexico City, having a solid season at 830. Otherwise, Young Wright, again, is the only other hitter who's got an OPS of above 700. Bert Gonzalez, who was previously kind of the best offensive player, having a slump season. So is Stephanie Winters. So is Brock Watson. And then you've got Ty Beanbag, who is just kind of there. They're doing okay. And Evil Twin at the bottom of the lineup, who is just, doing a real number on them as well.
Yeah, that's not helping at all. Unfortunately, Evelton did roam over to the Wild Wings. Good luck. With honestly terrible vibes as well. That 2-ish stars in batting probably isn't doing anything right now. Evie, your thoughts on the Wild Wings here?
I mean, the Wild Wings are certainly wild at getting really bad. I don't know. That's a pun. I'm trying. I really am bad at keeping up with Blaseball. I don't know why I keep on getting invited on.
I will take the pun at least. We'll take the pun. If Biff, the Wild Wings. I will point out. Oh, we lost a camper there for a minute. Everything's fine though. No one panic. The Wild Wings were ranked 24th. The Wild Wings were ranked 24th on BNN. A few people, one person, Phoebe, put them at 17th. Jade actually had them at 14th. Ouch. Otherwise, it was pretty much 24th across the board. What's that?
No. I put them at first.
You put them at first.
I put them at first.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I don't decide any of my picks.
Fair.
I shuffle a deck of cards. And then I rank them based off of the cards. But it did decide, the deck of cards did put the Wild Wings in first place. So
maybe they're destined for the under bracket first place.
Hey, maybe.
One thought they were last season. They were certainly the favorites going in for the under bracket last season. You know what they are trying right now, and they know what they're doing. It is interesting in some way how much these little factors and these little luck things matter. I mean, just the opposite of what we just talked about with the Jazz hands, how a little bit of luck and a little bit of improvement has gone the right way. They had not been noticed when they didn't want to be. The sim very much notices the Wild Wings. The sim very much punishes the Wild Wings. They have, I think, a quarter of the incinerations of the last few seasons, something to that effect. They've certainly had a couple of names to the point where they were so desperate for players a couple seasons back that they spoke with the Worms and asked to pull out the 4th best hitter in the Worms shadows, and they allowed it. Aurora Blortles. She lasted 2/3 of the season before she was incinerated, I believe. They just have had some tough luck. They know it. God bless him.
I mean, you can tell that by the fact that the best pitcher of the expansion era is currently in the lineup and not pitching.
Good for some.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's Bert Gonzalez, right?
It is, but I
That
mean
would be-
that is not in data. That is just my opinion. Although they probably, I think you could back it up, and
Oh yeah.
it's certainly an argument to be made.
I mean, the
But
amount of
yeah, and also like the other thing with the Wild Wings, it'll be interesting to see where they go in the gift shop or in the stadium renovations. Because if they build a fax machine, which I think they've been offered, then presumably Axel Cardenas will get yanked out of there pretty quick, and that could ruin an under championship run.
would they do that to ruin the under championship run, or would they stick with it?
Last I checked, the only one offering it, they're leaving gifts.
Huh.
I mean, it's like
I just
It's
want
in-
to. Sorry,
go ahead.
Jade just chipped in saying that her putting wings in the fort in 14th was a typo. She meant to also put them in 24.
Oh. Yes, you see that now. Yes.
There is no 24th there. Oh no. Yeah. Jade also had Moist Talkers at 14. Oops. Huh. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Can I add this to Jade's clout?
You're allowed to do whatever you want.
Correctly predicting the Wild Wings is the worst team in the league. Gotta add to her clout somehow.
I mean, it's kind of rare that like one of the things I love about the power rankings is seeing it all kind of come together on the Sunday evening in kind of this brilliant hive mind of burning creativity and chaos, and also because everyone kind of has their own system for how they do it. Like some people go a bit more off feel, some people look at the star counts, or some people like go deep into forbidden knowledge. And it's interesting because it means you generally get a wide range of opinions on teams. The exception to that is the
Some
Wild
people
Wings.
shuffle a deck of cards.
Exactly, and it's a perfectly valid way of doing it. But like, it is very rare that I think I've seen so much consensus on a team as we have on the Wild Wings this season. Like, poor Mexico City.
It's definitely
it's crazy thinking.
Go ahead.
Like 5 seasons ago, they nearly won the championship out of the back of nothing because the offense was still not great, but they had like the pitching rotation that could win enough close games in a playoff environment to go deep into the bracket. And then now they have Axel Cardenas.
Well, this is what I'm curious about. Two bad players, legitimately not good in their spot players, Axel Cardenas and Evelton McBlaze II. That doesn't necessarily tank a team. So there's and if you mention this, there is got to be a lot of luck involved in how badly they're doing, because I mean Sel Barajas and Sylvia Rugrat are amazing pitchers. Their lineup isn't necessarily bad. Ty Beanbag can't really hit per se, but otherwise, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of star power that could be considered condensed if you just kick Evelton McBlaze II out of it.
See, but this is where I would actually differ a little bit, Dan, because I think it is very easy to tank. I think in the last few seasons, the league has learned the art of tanking very well, just in time for that under bracket. And I think a 3 rotation pitcher setup with having one awful pitcher in there, guarantee you losing 1/3 of your games pretty much, is almost always enough. Coming from a team that knows all about moving up and moving down when they want as the Worms, I could tell you we estimated when we first moved Sandra Pancakes out of our rotation, we thought that was going to be an 11 to 15 win difference.
Really?
Just from hard to awful pitcher. And then when she came back in, Really the only change to our team to the Worms this season was Pancake coming back. I mean, heck, instead we didn't not only did we not lose our roamer, we gained another one. Welcome to Ohio, Pudge, right? But that alone, yeah, but that alone, Pancake's coming back alone is putting the Worms back in contention again. And our ranking showed people seeing that coming. The Worms were plus 10 from season to season on what we predicted. And so far, we're pretty much right. It,
Yeah,
it's it's it is it is just having that one pitcher in there. It really can do it, and I think the
and
Wings know what they're doing.
I take Dan's point as well about Barajas and Rugrat being solid pitches. I mean, they're actually remarkably similar in terms of ERA anyway,
Yes.
4.34 and 4.38. The problem is just the lineup is just not performing at all.
They can't produce
Like
at all.
Well,
it
you want to hear
really
something?
is struggling.
This is actually their best batting average as a team of the last 7 seasons.
Oh God.
Now, mind you, that best batting average is 220, but that is the best team batting average they have in the last 7 seasons.
Oh no. All right. Well, you bring up the Worms and you bring up the Wild Low in general. So let's jump down to the Wild Low and talk about the team that is currently second overall in the entire ILB, the Los Angelus the Los Angeli Unlimited Tacos.
The LA Unlimited Tacos.
The
Yeah.
37-20 of the record and 46 wins. Evie, you know what? Go ahead. Evie,
Well, the LA Unlimited Tacos this season, this election, did some very major improvements, such as undoing a mistake that happened near the end of the season that last season, which was during the reverb, or Tacos got reverb last season, and that shuffled up Basilio Mason and Yummy Elliott, which required us to use one of our wills to undo that.
Okay.
I forgot what else the tacos got, but it wasn't really like much. Like we got like overall just gradual improvements. But the tacos in general have been a team of gradual improvements in regards to just elections, which is weird to say because they're also a team that's just very chaotic. If you decide to spend like more than 5 seconds in the taco stand, like tacos are the team of gradual improvements. Tacos are the team of asking or taking Sydney eating her cereal in the shower and then running with it.
I mean, we have multiple different roles for various food crimes. There's shower cereal, spicy milk, bath pizza. It's honest, like you cannot believe some of the stuff that goes on in the
There are
taco stand.
problems.
But
Oh,
but
God.
right, but here's the thing. I agree with Evie here. I actually think that kind of helps because I think as tacos fans generally, we like that element of nonsense and chaos.
Oh, sure.
And in a way, we've kind of been able to tunnel that into things other than Blaseball and focus on just kind of improving the team gradually. Like, Evie's right that this election was mostly getting back to where we were a couple of seasons ago. But, actually before the reverb last season, we were still on for a championship run, despite the fact that we had Nan in the lineup, despite the fact that we somehow ended up with with 4B. Like, those were not planned at all, and somehow we still got to the Wild League Championship. I think a big thing as well is, and this will please all of the affectionately named sickos in the taco stand, is Michelle Sportsman negative ERA. Like when we won the underhanded blessing in the not the elections just gone, the elections before, we did a little bit of numbers and we were cautiously optimistic as to how effective it would be, and it was super effective because the problem with Michelle Sportsman's generally a very good like a solid pitcher. Like she'd be about 4.5 runs a game without underhanded. But the big problem with Shell is that when she allows runs, it tends to be via home run. Like the stats determined that she's bad at allowing dingers, and this Taco Stadium as well is designed to be quite home run heavy, and it meant that basically every game, like there was a game against the Beams yesterday evening, my time, where they were 2.9 runs ahead because of acid blood. And then Magnified Phineas Wormthrice hit a 3-run home run. So they immediately went from being from having 2.9 runs to negative 3.1 runs. I mean, literally, just as we've done this broadcast, we've beat the Crabs 0 to -1 in a game where we didn't score because Connor Haley hit an underhanded home run, and we've somehow outhoused a win out of it. And like I think it was an Onion comic a couple of years ago of something about like it was making fun of like drugs in society or whatever, and there's just like a guy looking through the window wearing a t-shirt that says sickos, and he's like, ha ha ha, yes. And someone took the face from it, and every time some weird data crime happens with underhanded or whatever, just the taco stand is full of the sicko. Like we had the most ridiculous game a couple of games ago against the Wild Wings, where we were 3-2 up going into the bottom of the 9th inning. Michelle chokes it, and then the Wild Wings go 5-3 up for about a minute until they hit a 2-run homer, and then it's tied at 3s, and we go into extra innings, get a win because of Sun 30. Fish Summit hits a single, and then the Wild Wings can't score. So despite the fact that the Wild Wings shamed us and made our net shame worse, according to the site, we shamed the Wild Wings, despite the fact that we were the away team. And it's like,
to my knowledge, the first away team shame in Blaseball history.
Is it?
I believe I didn't get to way through, but it was the first one I found.
No, I have data on this because I've been doing some research about shame, and I do have screenshots and tweets of earlier shame moments as well.
So what was another?
It won't pull it up.
We have had unshames in the past. So we have
okay.
Team. We've had unshames in the past where the game went on and the shame didn't work, and we have had scenarios where the team at the top of the inning got looped for one reason or another, and then the bottom didn't even happen because of it. But this was the first time, to my knowledge, that the game kept going because the shame happened and then it went back to a tie. And then the site actually reported the away team was shamed. But as Blenji pointed out, it in the stats, in the Taco's numbers, it shows that they gained the shame out of it instead. The other thing to say about what's going on there with the Tacos is the other thing that Blenji also mentioned, which is underhanded. How powerful was underhanded? How well have the Tacos done to get the right blessings and the right abilities? Well, after Michelle was showing how good it was for the first half of the season or so, by the time we got to late siesta, 16 teams picked underhanded as one of their items from the gift shop.
Oh.
So welcome to the underhanded Blaseball League. Those items have been stolen, swapped, dropped, prized, anything you can imagine. It is a
God, I love tunnels so much.
Okay, what do tunnels do?
Tunnels let you steal stuff from the other team. And by stuff, I mean anything. You're allowed to steal runs. You're allowed to steal items. I think you're allowed to steal bases. Are you allowed to steal bases? It'd be hilarious if the only thing you couldn't steal with tunnels was at a base.
We could sidetrack into the fifth base, but no, that's not this conversation.
Fair enough.
I just meant like steal third or whatever through the tunnels.
Sure.
That'd be hilarious if that was the only thing you couldn't do with tunnels.
That would be funny. And
the thing that also tunnels has been the bane of my existence a little bit. But it has created the saga of the One Ring, which is very entertaining.
Oh my God, yes! It's currently actually on Yellowstone Magic right now. It
is Zion Alicia Keys?
Yes.
Or Curry Alicia Keys?
Curry Alicia Keys.
That's the one. Yeah, it was originally McDowell Mason's Clutch Wooden Rock clutch wooden rock ring. That was a bit of a mouthful. And then the firefighters stole it from us, and we were very annoyed because it's a really good ring. And then it got stolen a couple of other times and stolen. And this kind of now it has become known in circles as the one ring. And the irony of it, the irony also of it being that it seems to be it's only pitchers that can do the stealing. And
It is pitchers who are not pitching on that day who go into the tunnels because they have nothing else better to do.
That's true.
and the item is useless for pitchers. Like, it's great for hitters. It's not a pitching item at all.
Well, here's the thing. It's actually... I don't know if this has actually happened yet. However, that ring will counter over-under on Curry Alicia Keys. So if Yellowstone, by some miracle, get more than 5 runs in a game, but it's flooding weather and there's a runner on base, she won't underperform. And that has been a bit of a problem for Curry Alicia Keys in Yellowstone. So I'm curious if we see a situation where the stars align and that happens, because I haven't seen it happen yet. It might have happened. I don't know. But I would love to see that happen. Anyways, sidetrack there.
I will say that almost a full 25% of the item thefts that have occurred so far in Blaseball have been this ring. I think it was last check 17 item thefts, 4 of them for this ring. I think there were 8 failed attempts at thefts, and 4 of those were also for the same item, not this one, but a different item. I think the thefts tend to go for the high durability items, which is why this is targeting the same one over and over again.
Sure.
There seems to be some role for what the pitcher has versus what the other team has, and they tend to improve the durability in general. So because this is a 5 durability item, it's going to be popular.
Sure. Credit where credit is due as well for the power rankings. Panda actually ranked the unlimited tacos at 2. So congratulations, Panda. So far, one of the wonderful sunbeams, by the way. So far, Panda, you right. Congratulations. We'll see if that holds up.
I ranked the tacos at 22.
Oh.
So
well,
2 twice.
Yeah, if you just remove one of those 2s, you're great.
or you could just say she was correct twice.
There you go. That's another one.
I mean, if you read the tarot cards underhand or in the under bracket, where the teams on the top are under bracket and teams on the bottom are over bracket, then tacos would be 3rd.
Sure.
So
okay.
Just read the cards upside down. I put it up to a vote, and the side I wanted was wrong. Or the side I wanted was lost the vote, which was reading them as under bracket, because under bracket was top of the depth chart.
Hold on a second.
But
what team did you have at 24?
The Moist Talkers.
Yeah, I think we can read it backwards. I think we can read it upside down. Yeah, Moist Talkers are doing pretty okay. Yeah.
The Moist Talkers started really hot and have come back to the pack a little bit now, but
yes.
Moist Talkers was interesting. There was a lot of the power rankings were really split on the Moist Talkers. What are the higher standard deviations on the list? 5.61, which is 3rd overall, behind only the Lift and the Tigers. But yeah, you can see that, in the mid, it's one of those teams where we were really split on what we thought of them.
There was a solid range too. Gary had them at 4, and then Panda actually had them at 23. It was very across the board. You're 100% right there, Benji. Really quick, let's go back to the tacos here for just a hot second. Are we in Taco Baco Mark II? Are we in Taco Baco Mark II?
So if you'd asked me this maybe yesterday, I would have said no. We are distinctly not built to counter underhanded. We have tried to turn the Al Pastor into the Church of Dingers. We love home runs. It's great fun. And, we'll probably come onto this in a little bit. A team like the Mechs, for example, is perfectly built for this sort of system because they play a lot of small ball. They don't have those high home run style hitters. They just kind of get the conga line of going around the bases. But yet somehow in the past, I don't know, over the past 24 hours, we've won a lot of games using small ball. So I don't know. Taco might Baco.
Taco might
I was gonna
Baco
say,
once
like,
again.
You look at
I
your
mean, that
record against
might tie
underhand.
in.
Hold on, Evie, go ahead.
I was gonna.
Evie, go ahead.
I was gonna. I think that sort of ties into Basilio Mason's buff because Basilio Mason had Moxie improved, and if I remember correctly, Moxie is related to like base running, if I remember correctly. The ability to draw walks, according
Yes.
to Astrid's. Yeah, so
Thank you, Astrid. Thank
helps
you,
get it with
Sibber.
getting people just on base.
Okay.
I have way too many resources about baseball, and I don't know anything about
you could have
baseball.
as many resources
Why do you
as
guys
you
want
want.
on stream?
We could have all of the resources. We could have the book of Blaseball open before us, and we would still be like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
One day I want to do like a YouTube video trying to explain E density, but every time I try to research it, I come out more confused than I start.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess the only hope for the YouTube video would be to have a video that makes it more like you come out of the video more confused than you start when you come into it.
That would be fitting. Okay, so Evie, before we move on to If Biff, the question is posed. Taco Baco Mark II. Are we in Taco Baco Mark II?
I say yes because I don't know what that means.
Perfect.
But I do like saying Taco Baco.
Yes. All right, If Biff.
Taco Baco.
Didn't we have Mark II? I thought
You're cutting out really bad there, If Biff.
Testing. How's that?
A little bit better, yeah.
Okay, let's try that. I was gonna say I thought Tacos finally threw off the curse of the bad Baco a while ago when they finally won their championship. So are they now Taco Baco beats Don Morocco? I do think so. I also do think so. Saying is true. Blenji was right about the underhanded scenario, but part of the reason they've streaked so well is that they've consistently beat underhanded Patchwork Southwick. So they have been stringing that conga line, to use Blenji's term, together really well lately. And they have a couple hitters here who normally are up on the ranks for home runs, but that was where the Tacos had the smallest of lineups. They were hitting at a good pace, but now that they have their regular thing, they seem to be hitting the ball at a more regular distance as well. I don't know. It just seems to be working for them. I suspect they will go far this year.
Okie dokie. It was mentioned, the core mechanics. We will bring up the core mechanics now. Before we begin the core mechanics discussion, currently, core mechanics is sitting at 41 wins, tied for second in the mild high.
Oh, well,
Ooh.
just before we start the core mechanics discussion, there was something that I was told to bring up on stream.
Okay.
By Pandora, who runs the Tokyo Lift Twitter.
Okay.
And that is, she said, Evie, please be sure to mention that the Lift were overperforming and the sim hates us. So I made sure to mention that. You're welcome, Pandora. I don't know what that means.
Were they overperforming for the Earl Siesta?
It's a metaphor.
I guess so. I don't pay attention to baseball, actually.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, the Lift had a rough one with Geraint Panthea side, didn't they?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. That was unfortunate.
Riv
Rest in violence. Let's actually move on to the core mechanics, though, because we are running a little low on time, and I want to make sure we get into the rest of our topics for tonight. The core mechanics currently tied for second in the mild high, tied for third in the mild low overall, with the New York Millennials, shockingly enough, both at 41 wins, although the New York Millennials record has them just a little bit ahead of the core. Benji, you actually had the core mechanics smacked right at number 1 on your list, along with Moth for the power rankings. So we'll go ahead and start out with you. Why did you have the core mechanics at number 1, and what could they do to get up to that number 1 point, not just in the mild league, but overall?
So, it's mostly the same roster that they won the championship with last year. The only major difference is that Shirai McElroy, who was a very good pitcher, has been replaced with Zoe Kirchner, who is an even better pitcher. Like phenomenal pitcher. So they've now got 3, 5-star pitchers, or 5.5, 6-star pitchers in the rotation with Kirchner, Kugel, and Willowtree. The offense kind of doesn't necessarily have the weak links, the worst players on the roster, like Kelvin Drum Solo, for example, they're still very solid players. You're not getting, shafted really on the weak spots of the lineup, and because they have the small lineup, if players get swept elsewhere, which seems to happen an incredible amount to the core mechanics, like, good lord, the sim loves sweeping them away. But it just means that you're getting good hitters more at bats, and let's have a look. Yeah, Kelvin Drumside is doing worse than I thought, and Christian Cone. But yeah, Cannonball Sports and Gia Holbrook and Mira Lemma are really pulling their weight, and because the lineup's small enough, they're getting enough at bats to kind of make up for it. As I say, the pitching is phenomenal. Zoe Kirchner is the worst pitcher in the rotation at the moment, at least in terms of ERA, but her ERA is 3.24, which is phenomenal.
That's incredible.
In most, without underhanded, that'd be the best pitcher in most teams' rotations. So they're just solid. They're so solid, and as we mentioned, they don't really hit that many dingers, respectively, compared to a team like the Tacos, and that helps them. I think you probably do a bit more core stuff than I do, Dan, so you can maybe have a bit more light on it.
I had my idol on Cannonball Sports for a while there at the beginning of this season. I thought, because I'm just going 2 inventory slots and I have them all on batting stuff, you know what, Cannonball Sports is I'm ready to ride that cannonball to the moon. And I barely made anything. Off Cannonball Sports. I'm curious if there is an issue of just bad luck where a couple of these batters aren't necessarily performing where they should, or not performing when they should, to keep them at the top of the mild high. Because honestly, like you were saying, Benji, I don't see a weak spot here. I just don't.
Have you tried running Jade's hot fries strat?
I was thinking about that.
You only run hot fries and idle Adalberto Tosser, because I can recommend it as someone who now has 5 million coins and has been rewarded for paying even less attention to baseball than usual.
I thought about that this morning, actually. I was looking at the Blaseball site and thinking, wow, I only got about 1 million coins. What am I going to do?
For a second. You just said you only have 1 million coins.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just really adjusted to Paula turnip money.
Yeah. I must admit
that okay, hold on a second.
Do you remember before? Do you remember beg betting? Do you remember beg betting fucking 10 games a day with 5 to 12 coins.
Oh, I don't even remember betting on games at this point.
Yeah, when's the last time you bet on a game, period?
1 million.
And if you could
Like-
say that, Cat has more money than all of us combined. Coins?
No. Hell no. Evie has the most money.
Okay, fair enough. Evie has the most.
Evie is riding the actual
No,
meta
Jade
side.
has more money than me because she.
I'm just
Jade
doing
has more money than me because she made me dump some of my coins into Rovers arenas.
Fair. You know
Yeah.
what? Fair. The economy has, I must admit that I like to kind of just set something and go. So I'm very much riding in the economy at the moment, but there's a lot of good money-making options out there right now.
There are.
You see, you see Jade's number in the chat?
And if you
Yeah.
want to find out more about them, I do recommend Jade does economy guides on Twitter. She puts them out very frequently.
What
and she is at Not a Credit on Twitter. That's right, at Not a Credit on Twitter.
Thank you.
Who had 148 in the sweepstake?
Nope.
So those mechs, Dan.
Yes. If Biff, where are the core mechanics faltering here? Numerically, what are they doing to falter?
This is gonna sound crazy. I think it's too crowded in that bench right now. They're not used to having 6 guys. They're used to it. I can't tell you the last time I looked at the mechanics lineup, nobody was elsewhere. Look at all that scattered. Oh my goodness.
That's true.
All okay. Where Blenji's prediction makes absolute sense, and why I would support him is that pitching staff. It's unblemished. It's amazing. And as we talked about a little bit with the Wild Wings thing and the other stuff, that three-player rotation is the way to go. It is so easy to move up and move down. And that Zoe Kirshner addition is insanely good. But they, if these players were in a quote-unquote normal lineup, some of them would look pretty average and pretty regular. So when they're all doing their regular amount of at-bats, there's some great hitters here, absolutely. But remember when Kelvin Drum Solo Mania was all over the place. He was the lineup for 3.5 games and made insane amount of statistics. Okay, and as again, Bledgy noticed, what's Kelvin batting now? 168. Okay, that's a down season for Kelvin, but he is never a 300 hitter. So, what do they need to turn this back up again? Some of those elsewhere trigger has to happen.
Send some people elsewhere.
Get a little elbow room back in that.
I certainly dropping Adelaide Judo Chop again, or I actually don't know who that third spot player is. I don't know their full name.
Christian Combs.
Okay. Dropping them wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing because that would just make a 1-2-3 of Miralema, Cannonball Sports, and Gia Holbrook, which is frightening to say the least. That is not a lineup you want to open up an inning against. Period.
I appreciate this is going to be very Taka-centric of me, but it reminds me of when we actually won the championship.
I wanted to reference it, to be honest.
and we had a third of our roster in peanut shells for a good part of the season. Our lineup was essentially all Masons. It was Rat and McDowell and Basilio Mason, and it worked. It wasn't how we drew it up, but there is, and obviously,
What's that, if Biff?
I was going to say, that's when Rat was hitting dingers. That's when he broke home run records. Because he was getting more at bats.
And that is, there is obviously a risk with having the small lineup in that it can make your players valuable to being idolized and go high up the MVP board, and then you might lose them to legendary, and there's E-density and concerns that go with that. But if you've got but there is something to be said from, at least on field. I know that, for example, we had Nan last season, and it was great. Nan's not good at baseball, but it was great having Nan back on the team because we love Nan. Genuinely, it really was. Like, and you
Oh,
know,
I put my money into reforming flickering on Nan just so that way we could optimize the Nan World Tour with just one like Roman.
that was there. That we put a lot of money into it, and in the end, we ended up moving them to the shadows, which made our team better on field, but you know, it has lore implications with beloved players kind of not being there, and that's the risk you take. Is that it's like it's fun to have a lot of players that you can talk about, and you have backstories and cheers for. Like multiple people in the taco stand have pitched like lore laundry because like basically getting a lot of players through the roster because it's fun. It's part of the reason why I think a lot of teams like the fax machine. A, because it's just fun having a fax machine. Like one of the funnest things I've done in Blaseball was put together the Shoe Thieves blurb in this week's Power Rankings as a shout out to the hardest working fax machine on the immaterial plane because Jesus, that fax machine goes through some work. But also, it's really fun seeing like new players come back and forth up and down the roster all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta love the lore crimes of like McBaseball Clemens coming up and then getting thrown back out, and then the devs being like, "Wait, that was a mistake."
Oops. Really quick here because I want to fit this stuff in. As it stands currently on this wonderful Wednesday evening, the Baltimore Crabs are leading the LA Unlimited Tacos by 2 wins. 2 wins. A record for the Crabs is slightly better. Only one person, I believe, called the Crabs for number 1, and that was Phoebe. We did have a 3 spot, a 4 spot. Jade actually had them at 6th. Kid Roar had them at 3. Everyone thought the Crabs were going to do pretty darn well this season. Maybe not necessarily number 1, but still very well. Also, something that people didn't really see coming at all are the Philly Pies. No one ranked Pies higher than 4. That was Phoebe. Benji, you had them at 8th for the overall. I quickly, if anyone has any thoughts as to why the Philly Pies are at the top of the mild high league, I would love to hear them because obviously a very spread out lineup, rotation that is okay. Tiana Takahashi, amazing, but otherwise I feel like they're relying a lot on their lineup for that. What are the Philly Pies doing that's doing so well?
Do you mind if I hop?
Go ahead, Benji. Go ahead.
Go.
I was going to say that they always had a good offense, but it was kind of not necessarily getting it all in the right order. They had a reverb back in day 18, and it's worked wonderful for them because you've now got Jackson Buckley as a leadoff hitter. Jackson Buckley's ridiculous. And,
Jackson Buckley is going to get on base. Period.
Yeah, especially because they've got the power charge, and they can improve when they hit doubles, which is great. They've also like all the memes about they've got the 5th base, lol, like, and how it continually goes back in the oven because it's not done yet, etc., etc. But like the Pies also like they've got power hitters, and like if you've got batters who can hit home runs, doesn't matter how many bases they are, you get them all for free. Like, and that really helps. It really helps. The lineup's just, as you say, the pitching's solid, but the lineup is ridiculous. So much good hitting in that lineup.
If go ahead.
Actually, more
Go.
pitchers or more bases do matter because that means you can get more people on bases when you do a home run. You can just that means you can get, like 4 people home run, and then that's 5 runs. I don't know anything about baseball.
I'd be very
All right,
curious
not
if that
sorry.
comes into play. I'd be very curious if that comes into play.
I think
This season yet.
no, that was a grand on slam.
No, to slam is the 5 bases. Anyway.
What's up, If?
No, where the grand slam is.
You're cutting out again.
The grand slam is with 3 runners on base. The term we've used is a pentaslam for a home run with 4 runners on base.
Has
It
that
was
happened this season?
I do not believe it has. It was
Okay.
somewhat common the season where fifth base was first introduced, but for the oven specifically, I don't think we've seen them. We've seen some bucket or hoops assisted grand slams, but no true pentaslam. I'd be curious. One of the things I want to say is because I don't know what the underhanded scenarios are in the mild high specifically. The mechanics do not have one, right? So I'm wondering how many times the Pies are just not facing it. So their home run heavy team is Maverick. I mean, this is a team just 2 seasons ago that was almost the consensus #1 pick, right? They had 80 wins and they were doing well, and then they fell apart because they had one bad pitching scenario. And then what did happen this year? 3 good pitchers. They got themselves fixed up. They fixed that one slot because it's easy to repair when you have 3 pitchers.
Sure.
So it's also easy to miss when you saw a team fall down and they only have to do one fix. You might not realize that one fix happened, and you might not hit them as high as you're supposed to.
To answer your question, partially at least, the only underhanded player that I have directly tracked in the mild league is actually my boy King Weatherman. He has underhanded from his underhanded skate helmet of the famine. Okay, sure,
I know
thanks.
the garage has lost theirs. Uh, does
And the
any
garages have like a bajillion pitches.
They have so
Mindy
many
Kugel has got
pitchers.
Mindy Kugel has got underhanded for the Mex, which is,
Oh, she
but again,
does.
that's. I think there was a mill who had an underhanded item, but it was the wrong Sandy. It was Sandy Turner rather than Sandy Carver. So again, that's an item that you're not facing. Yeah,
I also don't know
and
what
the
the
pie.
Pies like. Yeah, their actual. Sorry, Reggie, but their actual schedule. I don't know who they've played a lot so far this season.
That's
So
definitely the other thing to take in mind is schedule is going to affect things dramatically. Every season, it feels like schedule is having a bigger impact every single season. Beck Whitney apparently has one that's Fridays. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Beck
Beck
Whitney is
Whitney's
not
underhanded.
making use of
Okay.
that.
yes, famous pitcher Beck Whitney.
Okay. Really super quick here. If Biff, you had a comment or two you wanted to make about the worms. Um, I'm giving you the floor for the next minute or two here.
I appreciate that. It's not so much a comment. Um, I guess more of an open discussion for
You're cutting
me
out quite a bit again.
because it's the time that I want to talk. How's that? Anything?
Better.
Okay, let's try this.
Never mind. Nope, we can't hear you.
Schlager Merchant Schmuffer
There we
Goals.
go. There we go.
Okay. I think no team better represents the dichotomy of under bracket, over bracket than the Worms. I think a lot of teams make a lot of assumptions about who's doing under bracket, over bracket. I think teams, even when we have these discussions, talk about why did this team do that or why did this team change that, and the answer often is that that's not really what the team necessarily wanted, or it doesn't always work out the way they wanted. And I think that people make, again, for lack of a better term, assumptions about certain teams and certain structures. I am not a Worms captain. I am not a Worms rep. I'm not a member of the strategy team. I'm just a good fan who loves to see them work. But I also hate to see the assumptions that are made about several teams and the Worms being one of them. Uh, no, we're not always wanting to take your worst player. No, we're not the team that is going to try to go for bottom dweller every single season. No, we're not a dumping ground for the players that you just don't think matter anymore. Um, this is not the only team that this happens to. We've talked on and off about luck being a major factor of all this too. Last time I checked, the Worms got their #1 or #2 will choice in terms of voting 4 times out of 8 seasons, and that's including multiple wills and the free wills they've gotten a few times. So there's luck factors about who gets what, and there's all of these type of things. But just in general, folks, remember that all these teams have a plethora of fans who want to see all sorts of things happen for their team, and don't make assumptions about this team is that and this team is this.
Good comments. Thank you for that, Biff. Okay,
Thanks for the opportunity.
It is hubris time. Hope everyone is ready for hubris time. We need to make some calls. We need to make some predictions. Power rankings give us good information to start with. We have the milepost of being halfway through the season now. I will ask you all to give me the two teams we see in the over bracket. And as a bonus, if you can call the under bracket as well, you get a cookie. That's the best I got. Benji, give me your hubris.
Under bracket, I'm going to go for the garages from the mild league, and I'm going to go for the wild wings from the wild league, and I think the wild wings take the under bracket this year.
Okay, safe guesses there.
For the over bracket, I'm backing the core to come through again, making their third finals appearance in 4 seasons.
Okay.
But this time, they go down to the unlimited tacos, Taco Baco. Because if I don't predict it, I feel bad. Because last time I was on, I didn't predict it, and we won, and I felt like a mug.
Oh, no. Well, now
Don't
you're
worry,
there. You're there.
I'll bonus notes if the tacos get swept 3-0 by the core. By the mechanics.
Wow.
Not again.
Is that the call you're making, Evie?
Actually, yeah, because that's better than the call I was gonna make, which was reading the cards.
Okay, all right. Evie, you're saying the unlimited tacos go down 3-0 to the core mechanics in the finals for the over bracket. What is the under bracket?
Well, we get. Would that be like their third win or their fourth win? Oh, it would be their third win. So that would be like, an ascension and a descension. By descension, we mean the tacos running gag of getting swept 3 times in the finals.
I mean, it would be the core mechanics 6th championship by technicality.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happens at 6. I'm kind of scared.
And for the under bracket, I have no idea, but I wanted to give a special note for alleged murder Gooby Balsam.
Gooby.
There you go.
Oh. So the under bracket will simply
You have to
be...
call him alleged murderer Gooby Balsam.
Alleged murderer. Did Gooby Balsam kill JFK? I'm sorry, allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah, legally, you have to say alleged murderer Gooby
Alleged
Balsam.
JFK murderer Gooby Balsam is going to be the entirety of the under bracket.
I've got a really good lawyer down in Mexico City, and they told me that I have to say allegedly when I talk about Gooby Balsam.
We don't, actually, if that's the basis of this, we don't have to say allegedly until season 24. It's fine. It's fine. If Biff,
I'm gonna keep on saying allegedly because Gooby is listening, and Gooby knows where I live, or allegedly knows where I live.
It's always listening.
If Biff, please talk.
Gooby is the wrench of baseball. I'm going to say for your over bracket that the tacos have a different painful memory. As much as I would love to see the core mechanics go for number 2, I think your tacos will make it to the final, but instead lose to those Baltimore Crabs. Because if there's any team that knows how to win, especially when you're not looking necessarily, it's the Baltimore Crabs. And they're doing it right, and they're doing it right again. I think they actually do have a little positive karma coming their way for giving the world $30. I think we have another season or 2 of making some good money off Tosser, so I hate to give them credit, but they actually kind of earned it. So, sorry, tacos.
I really love those Tosser bucks, so love you, Crabs.
I
And
mean,
by crabs, I mean tosser bucks.
for the under bracket, I mean, everybody has to pick the wings here. They are so far and away below everybody else. They should have won it last season. The Lovers grasped it from right away from them. I couldn't even tell you who from the mild side is close to being that bad. So it's the Wild Wings versus the entire underworld.
It's the Wild Wings versus Gooby Balson.
There you go. You know what? I would actually
Alleged.
say,
There
I'm
you
sorry.
go.
Alleged murderer Gooby Balson.
Alleged murderer Gooby Bolson.
and just watch out, folks. The consumers are coming.
There's a lot of red dots out there. The consumers are steaming straight ahead. My
I
goodness.
mean, it's the sun.
Dan, I have a hubris
You
question.
know,
Oh no.
You want to which end zone gets hit first?
The upper one. I think the upper end zone gets hit first.
We're going to float the cactuses before we sink the gates.
I think the sinking isn't going to happen quickly enough compared to the float plans that are in place. I think the consumers are going to get a little hungry. I think the consumers might get a little hungry. Of course, they might start feasting on some worms. We don't know.
I mean,
God,
we don't have the
I
time
am
to do it,
so hyped for the Fridays to become best friends with the Phoenix Cacti. My favorite baseball team, the Phoenix Cacti.
What were you saying, if Biff?
No, I was going to say we'll see what late siesta brings because there's a lot of E density, A density, float and sink things that are happening there.
Yeah.
So I think day 73 will be a real indication for which zone gets
Still,
hit.
really sad that it's now called A density, I guess. I really liked Xfog.
Okay, I owe some hubris as well. For the over bracket, I'm gonna deviate slightly and say I'm gonna go ahead and say in it is gonna be the tacos from the Wild League. However, from the Mild League, I think the Philly Pies actually end up breaking past the Crabs. I think the Philly Pies break past the Crabs. I don't know if the Philly Pies, with their pitching, have the consistency to stand up against the Tacos. We'll see. I think Vito Kravitz and Michelle Sportsman both pitch beyond their stars. But
I mean, of course, Michelle Sportsman pitches beyond her stars.
yeah, that's going to involve Fish Summer.
Michelle Sportsman has absolutely abysmal. Michelle Sportsman has absolutely abysmal overpowerment, like compared to her peers,
Sure.
and that's very good when you're underhanded.
I think that's going to involve Fish Summer coming back from elsewhere ASAP, though. Fish Summer needs to come back. So that's my thoughts on the over bracket. On the under bracket, obviously, Mexico City, Wild Wings, I think they take it. I think they take the entire under bracket easily, but they're going to run up against the Kansas City Breath Mints. I just pissed off all of Sibber. I am so sorry. But the Kansas City Breath Mints, I think, are going to make it to the very top of the under, or the very bottom of the under bracket? The very bottom of the under bracket.
The top of the bottom.
Fair enough. It's going to be Wings and Breath Mints. I don't think it's going to be close at that point. I think the Wings are just going to be like, no, the under bracket's ours this season. We're sorry. But I think Kansas City's going to make it there. But for the over bracket, tacos and pies. Just barely with the pies. I think the Crabs give it a good shot. There's my hubris. And most of Sivers going to be like, where's Dan? With that being said, though,
Something, the breath mints.
the breath mints.
the breath mints.
The breath man.
The breath mints. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and close things out here. If Biff, go ahead and tell people where you can be found along the interwebs.
I am.
Try again with the mic.
Post links too in chat.
If Biff?
If it got chomped by the consumers and has lost
Oh, crap.
Oh, the consumers on it.
5.8 stars in voice.
How about now?
Now is good. Also, post links after you say them.
I intend to.
Perfect.
I am Biff If, BIFF on Twitter because Twitter is always a little bitch to me. I am Gizmo, aka If on Discord. You can usually find me hanging out in Sibber or in the BNN rooms. Off of my Twitter feed in particular, I'll put the link up, but I'm always happy to advertise my Scorigami sheet, which is the list of all the unique scores that have ever happened in Blaseball. I could tell you, for example, though, that 0 score winning happens 11 times now in the history of Blaseball, and that 28.6 has happened, but never 28. Always fun stuff. Come check me out. Thank you very much.
I know for a fact that Kat is a big fan of Scorigami. Alrighty. Evie, go ahead and tell people where you can be found, and then post links in chat.
Oh yeah. You can find me on Twitter. There's I'm EV Tacos or at QT_dork on Twitter. You can also find me with at Not a Credit on Twitter, and you can also find me at Taco Blaseball on Twitter because I run the Tacos Twitter. And just to reiterate, there is at Not a Credit on Twitter is the best Twitter that you should follow if you want to find tweets by me.
Of course, if you want shrimp, you go to the Tacos Twitter.
Oh yeah, of course.
Benji, go ahead, give us your links, and then make sure you post them in chat.
So you can find me on Twitter. I am at Benjamin Reese there, and on Twitch you can find me at twitch.tv/Benji Reese, where I do broadcasts of taco games during the on seasons, and then just bum around with some games in the off season. And I'm going to do some completely shameless plugging. I've teamed up with a couple of other stat heads in the taco stand. We've launched our brand new podcast, Taco Baco, the Blaseball Analysis Co.
Yeah.
Basically we find interesting topics, kind of data-driven topics within Blaseball that we kind of pitch each week, and then we break down and have a conversation about. I've put that in there. It's blaseballanalysisco.libsyn.com, and so far we've got 4 kind of pilot episodes up, talking about the slingshot technique, i.e. tanking and then going back up, Beck-Whitney syndrome, the beam's base instincts blood types, and very appropriately, given what happened last season, mechanical small ball, about how the mechs are built to win a championship with their small ball style offense. And full credit to Theremin, that's exactly what they did.
There you
So
go.
yeah, I've had a lot of fun doing that, and we're doing our next record in the next couple of days, and so we should hopefully be putting out episodes on a regular basis from next week. It's all very exciting.
Benji, make sure you post episode links in the podcast channel in the BNN Discord.
It is already in there.
Boom, there we go. As for myself, hi, I'm Dan. You could find me twitter.com/Leto, Leto. That's where I post 99% of my bullshit. You could also find me streaming semi-regularly, although not this week. I took this week off, but at twitch.tv/RobAndDan. Also, this show, as well as other streams, are broadcast here at glamesh.tv/Dan. And finally, if you enjoy these productions and other things I do, feel free to hit up my Ko-fi, kofi.com/broadcastdan. With that being said, that is our hubris presented for you all. And I hope you've enjoyed it immensely, because we were probably wrong about something. especially the consumers. We're out of here. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Bye.